At the end of this video, you will walk away with a whole new approach to order blocks and smart money trading. If you've been trading for a while, then I take it that you are familiar with order blocks, demand and supply zones, imbalances, liquidity, as well as fair value gaps, and more. Credit to Michael Huddleston, aka Inner Circle Trader. These words have become some of the most popular buzzwords on YouTube. Order blocks, fair value gaps, imbalances, demand and supply zones. But how do you operate with certainty and high probability using order blocks? And that's the point here. And in talking about this, I will talk about 2 points which I want you to take note of. Now, the first is hours and big figures. Yes, and we're going to break this down. And the second would be current sentiment of the market or the trend. Two simple things: hours and big figures, and the current sentiment of the market. So basically, the best high probability order blocks that you are looking to trade or reference points such as imbalances, demand and supply zones are a result of daily repricing or daily reaccumulation or daily redistribution that occur or that forms at predetermined price level at specific times of the day. It's that simple. So high probability order blocks are formed at specific price levels at specific times of the day. So basically, there are predetermined price levels every day when you open the chart in every currency or every asset where we would see repricing. Basically, what I mean by repricing is reaccumulation or redistribution. So I want you to look at it this way. If you have a car moving at 40 miles per hour, now it approaches a speed bump. What do you think happens to that car? Well, the driver will definitely slow down and try to get across the speed bump. This same thing happens in the marketplace. Price will move in a particular direction. And there are specific price levels every day where price would slow down. You want to consider them speed bumps. That's what they are. They're speed bumps where price reprices, reaccumulates more orders or redistributes more orders before going in its original direction. That occurrence gives rise to what you call order blocks or any other reference points, or whatever it is you call it. So now we are going to take an example, and so you can understand what I mean when I said hours and big figures and the current sentiment of the market. So what are these big figures? These numbers or these price levels on every currency pair are like speed bumps where price usually slows down, reaccumulates, redistributes, or just reprice before moving. And in the process of repricing, we get to see the creation or the formation of order blocks, fair value gaps. And so these areas become high probability areas to look for entries. And here's an example of what we're talking about. We have the 20, the 50, the 80, and the 0 big figure. In a moment, you will understand these price levels are the areas that you can consider as speed bumps. Now consider this chart on the Kiwi dollar 1 hour time frame. Now our focus is on this day, the 8th of December 2021. This is all hindsight, but it's very important. Coming into this day, we would look at price and say current sentiment has shown that we will or we should continue to see a price movement to the upside. And of course, we would have interest just above here. All right. But then we would still be blind unless we bring in the hours and big figures theory into this chart to get to see where we expect speed bumps and the time period to expect the movement in price. Now, upon bringing in the big figures, as you can see right here, we have the 80.6780 big figure, and we've got the 0 big figure, we've got the 20 big figure, and we've got the 50 mid figure. Now, all of these areas are points within which we expect to see a repricing. They are speed bumps, of course. And so in these areas, you will find the most high probability reference points or order blocks to work with. If you break this down, this would be London. And this gray rectangle would be New York. We are marking out the different time periods to expect real price movements at these order blocks. These are the times. And so going into the 15-minute time frame, you're going to find that price traded into this area. The sentiment, of course, was bullish, established. Now price traded into the 80 big figure, traded even more into it, 13 pips, reacted to an order block that was resting here, which is on the 1 hour time frame. Now price traded higher, and we bring in the hours theory during the New York session. So basically what this is time and price. Basically, I have to give credit to ICT for this once again, but what we have here is time and price. So price trades above the 80 big figure during New York. Any return during that time becomes high probability. Any return, and we've got an order block resting just here. That's the 5-minute order block. The return to that area makes it high probability. And look at that. This was a speed bump. Price traded back into that speed bump, re-accumulated more orders, and boom, it traded higher. That's the very first example right there. So that would have been a 38 plus pip move to the upside. And then the following day, it took out the high. And I want you to notice how it trades to the 20 big figure and immediately trades back lower. And everything from then on traded back lower into the 80 big figure. Now, I'm not cherry picking this. You can actually go to chart after chart and look for this. And the link to this indicator would be in the description, and you're going to have access to it, as well as this template, because I make use of MetaTrader 4 and not TradingView for this. In our second example, we have the Euro British Pound. And when we bring in the two rules that I pointed out from the beginning, we have the current sentiment, bullish, and then we are going to bring in the hours and big figures theory. Now, looking at this like this, you don't get to see the details as much as you would want to see. But let's go ahead and add that in order to get more clarity and to get the areas or price levels where we expect to see a turnaround and the formation of order blocks. Now, upon adding the hours and big figures template, you can actually see that the following day we had price moving above. This is the 3rd of December 2021. Price moves above the 0 big figure and trades higher. Now we approach New York and price trades back lower. Now I want you to look at this, and here is a general rule of thumb. Your high probability order blocks and reference points are those order blocks formed around the big figures. Yes, these are the high probability order blocks. They are the road bumps. And this order block becomes a high probability. We've identified or established the current sentiment of the market is bullish. And price took out the previous day's high and goes back in here. And we've got a bullish order block forming just at the 0 big figure. And immediately what happened? It moved 45 pips, and it was no surprise that this was the terminus for that move, the 50 mid figure. Now you could think that, well, I'm just cherry picking, but you can actually go check this. It works. And there are trades that we take as a group in the community. The students there can actually attest for this. Now onto some sell examples. This is pound dollar. Now we have a 1 hour chart here on our hands. Now the current sentiment on this particular asset would be bearish. Of course, it's very clear. And we're looking at this day in particular, the 23rd of November 2021. Now we're going to go ahead and apply the hours and big figures to this chart and get more details as to where to expect order blocks to form and where we would see a repricing at certain times of the day. Now, upon adding our hours and big figures, now you'll find we're looking at this day in question. The previous day we had a break of structure and price slowed down at the 0 big figure, formed an order block right there, and price traded lower into the following day. And boom, that order block got mitigated right there. So there is a redistribution at the 0 big figure. And there's an order block right there. Remember what I said, the higher probability order blocks that you want to trade are at these big figures. And so price trades lower. but it reacts to this second order block right here and reacts to the 80 big figure. Is that an accident? I don't think so. And price traded lower once again, formed another order block right there at the 80 big figure during London. And that's what this gray rectangle stands for, the London session. And the second one stands for the New York session. Of course, that's the reason why I call it hours and big figures. These hours are the times when these things happen. If you check, it's clearly so. And price traded back in there, no coincidence whatsoever. The following day and traded lower. So this is how this works and how high probability order blocks can be formed at big figures. You know where they are going to form every day. You can take advantage of that, knowing the price levels, where to find redistribution, repricing, reaccumulation, whatever, and to be in a trade. And I'm going to show you one last example on the trade we took on the 17th of December 2021. Now, this is the euro dollar. Now, of course, we're looking at this day in question right here. This particular day in question, that's what we're looking at. Now, if we bring in the hours and big figures, we get a clearer picture of where to expect reaccumulation and distribution. By the way, you can actually check this trade out in the community tab on the 17th of December 2021. This was actually posted there. Now we are going to go ahead and bring in the hours and big figures. Now, going back to the 30-minute chart, you can see that the previous day we had price trading into the 50 mid figure, and that was the terminus for that day. It was the high of the day for the previous day. Price traded back into that area. Remember what I said, your high probability order blocks are those that are in tandem with the big figures, or those that form side by side on or above the big figures. Now the following day, price trades back into that high probability order block and starts to break down. And all of these are just feeding off this particular original terminus, the order block formed there. And so price trades back in here, mitigates this order block, and the entry was at this area right there, and price traded lower. Now, remember what I said, that price will slow down at these big figures. Check out the 20 big figure. Price trades below that and went 65 or 64 plus pips right there. And this is how you can actually use this. You can actually check more examples like this. And I want you to note this, that the high probability order blocks are those that form on the big figures, or those that form as a result of the huge or quick reaction to the big figures. These are your high probability order blocks. A very clear case would be this order block right here, a bullish order block. Price trades back in here into that area, and look at where it forms at the 50 mid figure, and price traded higher the following day and stayed in a consolidation. But the point is, your high probability order blocks form at big figures, and these big figures should be expected to see repricing at certain times of the day. That's the reason why I termed this, or I called this, the hours and big figures. And so you can actually use this. The link to this template, if you want to use my template, would be in the description, and you can actually download it and attach that to your MetaTrader 4 and put this to work and see if what I'm saying is a joke or not. So that's going to be it for this particular video. If you have found this helpful, like the video, hit the subscribe button. Feel free to join our free Telegram channel, where I share some of these tips and trades on a daily basis every week. And you could also be a part of our private Discord channel, where I send these trades before they happen and many more before we take them. So that's going to be for this one. Stay profitable, guys.